changes around her, voiced her concerns during the council deliberations. Change is necessary, she admitted, but we must guard against losing the order that keeps our city from falling into chaos. Ilara nodded, understanding the delicate balance they must maintain. Order does not mean oppression. It means justice, an opportunity for all. Our rebellion was born from the refusal to accept anything less. Joran leaned forward, his voice low but firm. We must be pragmatic. Ideals are our compass, but governance requires compromise. The people need stability as much as they need change. Mira added, and vigilance. There are still those who would see us falter. Meanwhile, on the balcony overlooking the city, Lord Vorik stood alone. The dusk painted the skyline in hues of amber and violet, the soaring flying machines casting long shadows over the floating city. His cold grey eyes reflected a complex swirl of regret and resignation. The power he once wielded with an iron grip had slipped through his fingers, replaced by a wary hope that the new leaders could succeed where he had failed. As night deepened, Ilara and Kale met privately in the council's chambers. The weight of their responsibilities pressed heavily upon them, yet their shared vision remained unwavering. This is only the beginning, Kale said softly, but together we can make this city soar beyond its past. Ilara smiled, a spark of defiant hope shining in her eyes. For the first time, the sky belongs to everyone. Outside, the city pulsed with life and promise, the echoes of rebellion transforming into the steady heartbeat of a new era. Yet the challenges ahead were clear. Ideals must be tempered with wisdom, unity forged through understanding, and the dreams of flying beyond caste must be nurtured with care. The journey was far from over, but for the first time it felt true that freedom was within reach. As the council session drew to a close, the murmurs of debate gave way to a tentative applause. Ilara and Kale exchanged a glance filled with resolve. The city's future depended on their strength and their ability to inspire others to rise above old divisions. The night air carried the distant whistle of steam engines and the soft flutter of wings from the flying machines, a reminder that the sky was no longer a limit, but a canvas for hopes and dreams. And as the stars emerged above the floating city, a new chapter began, one where echoes of rebellion would guide the city toward a horizon bright with possibility. But as Ilara turned from the council chamber, a shadow flickered at the edge of the doorway, a reminder that even in times of peace, vigilance must never waver. The true test of their resolve was yet to come. The city was changing, but the fight for its soul was far from finished. The air was thick with anticipation as the city's inhabitants gathered on the newly constructed communal platform, a symbol of the unity that had been hard-won through struggle and sacrifice. Princess Ilara stood beside Kale, her hand resting in his with a quiet strength that radiated through the crowd. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a golden glow over the floating city, its intricate gears and steam vents bathed in a soft amber light. The sky above was streaked with hues of pink and orange, the gentle hum of airships weaving through the clouds, creating a symphony of hope and renewal. Ilara's silver hair caught the fading light, shimmering softly as she smiled at Kale, her pale blue eyes reflecting the dreams they had dared to chase together. Kale, soot-streaked but now cleaner, his dark tousled hair slightly tamed, returned her gaze with unwavering resolve. Around them, citizens from every caste gathered, artisans, mechanics, nobles, and workers alike, their faces alight with cautious optimism and the promise of a new era. Mira moved through the crowd with purposeful grace, her curly auburn hair bouncing as she stopped to greet familiar faces. The handmaid who had once served in silence now stood proudly among the people, her sharp dark eyes bright with determination. In the courtyard nearby, the sound of clashing wooden swords and laughter echoed as Myra led a group of young women in self-defense training. The sun filtered through the leaves, dappling the ground with light as she encouraged her students with warmth and fierce encouragement. The air was alive with empowerment, a stark contrast to the fear and secrecy that had once cloaked her every move. Not far away, Joran was immersed in a bustling workshop filled with the scent of oil and metal. Sparks danced softly from a welding torch as he guided a group of eager apprentices through the intricacies of mechanical schematics. His stocky frame bent over the blueprints, hands steady despite the grime that clung to his skin. His stern expression softened as he witnessed the spark of understanding in his pupils. Eyes hope for the future forged through knowledge and skill. Joran's cautious pragmatism had evolved into a quiet optimism, his dedication to rebuilding the city's mechanical heart as steadfast as ever. As evening settled, the city's central square transformed into a vibrant celebration. Lanterns floated upwards, their warm glow mingling with the twinkling stars and the bursts of colorful fireworks that painted the night sky. Music drifted through the air, a joyous melody that invited dancing and laughter. Among the revelers, Elara and Kale found a moment of quiet intimacy beneath the luminous spectacle. Their fingers intertwined, their smiles mirrored in the bright colors above, a testament to the love that had blossomed against all odds. "We've come so far," Elara whispered, her voice barely audible over the soft crackle of fireworks. Kale squeezed her hand gently, "And this is only the beginning." Their public declaration of love was more than a personal triumph. It was a beacon for the city, a challenge to the old prejudices that had long divided them. The unity they embodied sparked a wave of hope that rippled through every street and skyway, inspiring others to cast aside fear and embrace the promise of change. Yet beneath the celebration, questions lingered. The remnants of the old regime, whispers of dissent and pockets of resistance, reminded them that the path ahead would not be without peril. Elara's thoughts drifted to Lord Varric and the shadows that still clung to the city's edges. But as she looked around at the faces illuminated by lantern light, at the joyous laughter of children from all castes mingling freely, she felt a fierce, defiant hope swell within her. Mira's new role as a leader in the community defense, combined with Joran's efforts to advance the mechanical rebellion into a formal institution, had already begun to stabilize the fragile peace. The city's streets were no longer battlegrounds of suspicion, but corridors of cooperation. Each repaired engine, each shared flight lesson, each open market was a stitch in the fabric of a society being rewoven from the threads of equality and respect. The night deepened, but the celebration showed no signs of waning. Elara and Kale took to the platform once more, addressing the crowd with voices steady and full of conviction, their words weaving a vision of a city where flying dreams were no longer bound by caste, where love and hope soared as freely as the airships above. Together, Elara proclaimed, "We are stronger. Together, we can build a future where no one is chained by birth or fear." Cheers erupted, a chorus of voices united in aspiration. Kale's gaze found hers, and in that shared look was the promise of tomorrow, uncertain yet bright. A future crafted by hands, once divided but now joined. As the celebration stretched into the night, the city seemed to breathe with new life. The gears of change were turning steadily, and with every heartbeat, every smile, and every daring flight, the floating city reclaimed its soul. But even as they reveled in their victory, Elara knew the true test was yet to come. The unity they had forged was fragile, and the challenges ahead would demand courage, sacrifice, and unwavering faith in one another. With Kale by her side, she was ready to face whatever storms might rise on the horizon. The memorial chamber was a solemn sanctuary amidst the rising sun that spilled golden light through stained glass windows. High above, Princess Alara stood before the portrait of her mother, her fingers tracing the delicate curves of the engraved name beneath the serene painted face. The room was quiet except for the distant hum of the city's engines, a steady reminder of the world she now sought to heal. The luminescent flowers softly glowed with a gentle, otherworldly light, casting dancing shadows that flickered like memories across the cold marble walls. Ilara's heart was heavy with the weight of loss and the burden of legacy. Her mother's death had left a void in the royal court, a silence that had echoed through the years like a stubborn refrain. Yet here, in this stillness, Ilara felt the fierce pulse of determination rising within her. She remembered the lessons whispered in the halls of her youth about duty, sacrifice, and the cost of change. But now, those lessons took on new meaning as she resolved to shape a future where those sacrifices were not in vain. She knelt, pressing her forehead to the cool stone, murmuring a vow to carry forward the courage and compassion that had defined her mother's reign. "I will forge a legacy of unity," she whispered, voice steady despite the tears that welled in her pale blue eyes. "Not of division, not of fear." As the sun climbed higher, Alara left the chamber, stepping into the Grand Council Hall where the city's future was being woven anew. The room was alive with voices, representatives from every caste, once divided by rigid walls, now gathered in a fragile but hopeful assembly. The wooden floor, worn by centuries of footsteps, bore witness to the moment as Elare raised her hand, commanding the room's attention. "We stand at the dawn of a new era," she began, her voice clear and unwavering. "Our city, once shackled by chains of caste and fear, now breathes the promise of freedom. But freedom demands more than words. It demands courage, sacrifice, and the willingness to dream beyond the skies we have known." Eyes met hers wide, expectant and filled with the spark of hope. She saw among them the artisans who once hid in shadows, the mechanics who risked everything for change, and the leaders who now sought peace. Ilara's heart swelled with the weight and wonder of her responsibility. Meanwhile, in the heart of the city's workshop, Kale and Jorin labored side by side, their hands moving with practiced precision as they fitted gears and tightened bolts. The scent of warm metal and steam filled the air, punctuated by the rhythmic clinks of tools meeting iron. Between moments of focused work, Kale stole a glance at Jorin, catching the faintest of smiles on his friend's face, a rare, wordless acknowledgement of how far they had come. "You think the city's ready?" Jorin asked quietly, wiping grease from his brow. Kale nodded, his green eyes gleaming with cautious hope. "It has to be. We've rebuilt more than machines. We've rebuilt trust." Outside, the city thrummed with vibrant life. Mira moved through the bustling streets, her agile figure weaving between stalls and crowds. Children laughed as they took their first flying lessons, the air alive with the hum of new machines soaring freely for the first time in generations. Flags flew proudly, bearing symbols of unity rather than division. The scent of fresh bread mingled with the metallic temps of machinery, a harmonious blend of past and future. Mira paused, watching a young couple from different castes share a shy smile. In that moment, she felt the full weight of the rebellion's cost and its promise. Here, in these streets, the dream of flying beyond caste constraints was no longer just a whispered hope. It was a living, breathing reality. That evening, Alara and Kale stood together on the balcony of the palace. Overlooking the city, they had fought so hard to transform. The stars above sparkled like distant dreams, and the city lights flickered like fireflies in the night. They spoke little, their hands intertwined, hearts beating in quiet rhythm. "Your mother would be proud," Kale said softly. Ilara smiled, eyes reflecting the starlight. "And so am I for the first time. I truly feel like I am leading, not as a princess trapped in golden chains, but as a guardian of hope." Their journey was far from over. The wounds of the past still lingered, and the future held new challenges. But together they faced it with unwavering resolve, ready to forge a legacy worthy of the skies they now shared. The first light of dawn cast a golden glow over the floating city, illuminating a skyline transformed beyond recognition. Where once rigid towers and somber spires had dominated the horizon, now a lively array of flying machines danced gracefully among the clouds. Steam hissed softly from polished engines, mingling with the distant cries of delighted children and the rhythmic clang of artisans at work. The air was thick with the scent of oil and fresh metal, intertwined with the sweet fragrance of blooming sky flowers nurtured in hanging gardens. Atop the highest platform, Princess Alara stood beside Kale, her silver hair catching the breeze, her pale blue eyes shining with a mixture of pride and wonder. Gone was the restrictive finery of her past. She wore a simple yet elegant coat of deep sapphire, embroidered with symbols of unity and hope. Kale's soot-streaked face was alight with excitement, his practical clothes enhanced with intricate mechanical details reflecting the innovations they had nurtured together. Their hands found each other's, fingers entwining with a comforting certainty. Below them, a group of children from every caste took to the sky for their first flying lessons. The instructors, a diverse team of engineers and pilots, guided the young ones with patient smiles and steady hands. Laughter and cheers echoed through the crisp air, a sound that had once been forbidden to mingle across social lines. Ilara's heart swelled at the sight. This was the tangible promise of their struggle, a future where dreams could soar unbound by birthright or privilege. Meanwhile, Mira and Joran navigated the bustling mechanical markets, a vibrant hub of creativity and collaboration. Stalls lined with brass and copper parts gleamed under the sun, and the air buzzed with lively barter and the rhythmic tapping of tools. Artisans and engineers, once separated by caste, now worked side by side, their combined talents forging inventions that blended the elegance of old-world steam technology with revolutionary new designs. Myra's sharp eyes scanned the crowd, noting the hopeful faces and spirited debates about the city's future. Joran's steady presence beside her was a grounding force, his broad shoulders bearing the weight of past losses, yet filled with determination for what lay ahead. At the grand ceremony, Lady Isolde observed quietly from the sidelines. Her once stern features had softened, touched by the passage of time and the undeniable tide of change. The silver streaks in her dark hair shimmered as she watched the celebrations with a reflective gaze. The traditions she had fiercely defended now gave way to a new order, an order she was learning to accept, albeit cautiously. Her eyes met Ilaros across the crowd, a silent acknowledgement passing between them, bridging old divides. The unveiling of the new flying machines was the highlight of the day. Crafted from gleaming metals and powered by engines that combined ancient steam mechanisms with innovative energy sources, these machines symbolized the rebirth of the city. Each design was unique, reflecting the creativity and aspirations of individuals from every caste. The crowd erupted into applause as the machines took flight, their silhouettes painting streaks of hope against the brightening sky. Yet beneath the celebration, subtle tensions lingered. Not all hearts had embraced the new era. Old prejudices whispered in shadowed alleys, and some voices murmured fears of disorder and loss. Ilara and Kale knew the path ahead would be fraught with challenges. The city's newfound freedom demanded vigilance and compassion, a delicate balance between honoring heritage and nurturing progress. As the sun climbed higher, Ilara addressed the gathering from the platform, her voice steady and clear. "Today, we do not just celebrate machines or technology," she declared, "but the boundless spirit of unity and hope that fuels them. We soar not because of the engines beneath us, but because of the courage within us all. Together, we will build a future where every soul can chase the sky, unburdened and free." Kale stepped forward, his eyes scanning the eager faces before him. "This is more than a flight of machines," he said. "It is a flight of dreams, of rebellions won and barriers broken. Let us keep our skies open, our minds open, and our hearts open to the possibilities ahead." The crowd erupted in cheers, a wave of sound that seemed to lift the very city higher into the heavens. Ilara felt Kale's hand tighten around hers as they watched the flying machines soar in intricate patterns, a dance of freedom and innovation. The sky was no longer a limit, it was a canvas. But as twilight approached, Ilara's gaze drifted toward the horizon, where faint shadows gathered. The city's transformation was just beginning, and with it came the inevitable struggles to forge a truly united society. Old wounds would need healing, new governance would require wisdom, and the dreams that had taken flight today would need nurturing against the winds of doubt. Yet in that moment, beneath a sky reimagined, Ilara and Kale shared a quiet resolve. Whatever storms awaited, they would face them together, their love and vision as steady as the engines that carried them forward. The city was theirs to rebuild, their legacy a beacon for generations dreaming beyond the clouds. As the stars began to twinkle above, the floating city shimmered with possibility, its people united in a soaring symphony of hope and courage. The sky was wide, and the future was theirs to claim. And somewhere in the distance, a new song of freedom began to rise, with the wind a song that no cast could silence, a song that would carry them all into the dawn of a new era. The golden hues of the setting sun washed over the floating city, painting the clouds beneath in soft shades of lavender and rose. High above the bustling streets and the intricate lattice of gears and steam vents, Princess Ilara and Kale stood side by side on the highest observation deck. The cool breeze whispered around them, carrying the faint hum of distant machinery and the soft murmur of the city settling into twilight. Ilara's silver hair caught the last light, shimmering like threads of starlight woven through silk. Her pale blue eyes were fixed on the horizon, where the sky seemed to melt into endless possibilities. She wore a simple, flowing garment, far removed from the restrictive dresses of her past, symbolizing the freedom she had fought so hard to claim. Kale's gaze mirrored hers, the soot-streaked face softened by a rare and genuine smile. His dark hair tousled as if tousled by the wind itself, and his practical clothes, though worn, were clean and fitting for a new life. In his hands, he held a delicate blueprint, edges curling slightly with age, but meticulously detailed. "This," Kale said, unfolding the paper carefully, "is the design for a new kind of flying machine, one that anyone can pilot, regardless of caste. Wings strong enough to carry our dreams free and unbound." Ilara stepped closer, tracing the intricate lines with a fingertip. The wings resembled those of a great bird, broad and graceful, capable of soaring higher than the city's oldest engines. "It's beautiful," she breathed, her voice tinged with awe and hope. "It's more than just beauty," Kale replied softly. "It's a promise that the sky won't belong to the few. that the city can rise on the strength of all its people, flying together. A silence settled between them, filled only by the soft sigh of the wind and the distant call of mechanical wings gliding through the air. Alara reached into a small pouch at her side and carefully pulled out a silver locket. Opening it, she revealed a faded portrait of her mother, a woman whose spirit had been bound by the old ways, yet whose secret past had ignited the first sparks of rebellion in Elara's heart. She dreamed of change too, Elara murmured, of a city where no one was trapped by the walls around them. I carry her hope with me. Kale took her hand gently, their fingers intertwining as naturally as if they had been made to fit together. The stars began to twinkle overhead, tiny lanterns lighting the vast canvas of the night sky. Around them, the city that had once been divided by iron and steam now hummed with new life, its people daring to dream beyond the confines of caste and tradition. Whatever comes next, Kale said, his voice steady and sure, we face it together. Our love, our vision, it's the wind beneath the wings of this city. Elara smiled, her heart swelling with a fierce and tender hope. Together, she agreed. We'll build a future where flying dreams are no longer forbidden, where every soul can rise. As the night deepened, they stood united against the vastness of the sky. Their promises whispered into the cool air, like a vow carried on the wind, an unbreakable bond that would guide them through the uncertain days ahead. For in this moment, suspended between past and future, Elara and Kale embodied the very essence of hope, a love that soared beyond boundaries, lighting the way for generations yet to come. The city below shimmered, alive with possibility, and the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, as if celebrating the dawn of a new era, one where the sky was not the limit, but just the beginning. And so, with hearts united and dreams unfurled, they stepped forward into the promise of tomorrow, ready to face whatever challenges awaited, knowing that together they could rewrite the story of their world. But even as they embraced this hopeful future, a faint whisper of distant gears turning reminded them that change was never without its shadows. The city's secrets, the remnants of old power, and the fragile trust among its people would test the strength of their bond. Yet in the quiet between heartbeats, Alara and Kale's resolve only deepened. Love was their rebellion, and it would be the light that led them through the coming darkness. The sky awaited, vast and inviting, ready to carry their dreams higher than ever before. Promise me, Alara whispered, that no matter what happens, we'll always fly together. Kale's smile was steady and sure as he squeezed her hand. I promise, to the ends of the sky and beyond. And with that, beneath the endless canopy of stars, two hearts beat as one, ready to soar into a future where love and freedom reigned supreme. The city's morning light spilled like molten gold over the horizon, casting a warm glow that seemed to breathe life into every corner of the floating metropolis. Atop the highest platform, Princess Alara stood beside Kale, her silver hair catching the light as the soft breeze teased the strands. Below them, the city thrummed with renewed vitality. Flying machines of every shape and size soared freely, their pilots a vibrant mix of all castes, laughing and calling out to one another as they danced between the clouds. Elara's gaze swept over the scene, her heart swelling with a mixture of relief and fierce pride. The rigid walls that had once confined her life and the lives of so many others had crumbled, replaced by bridges of understanding and shared purpose. Beside her, Kale's green eyes mirrored her excitement, bright and sparkling with a hope that had once seemed impossible. Look at them, Kale murmured, his voice low but steady. Flying not because their birth says they can, but because they choose to. Alara smiled, squeezing his hand gently. we did that, together. The platform beneath them buzzed softly with the hum of engines and the distant chatter of citizens, preparing for the day's grand ceremony. Today marked the official opening of flying lessons and mechanical trades, to all castes a symbol of the city's rebirth and the promise of equality. As they descended toward the central plaza, Mira and Jorin awaited them, faces alight with joy and anticipation. Mira's curly auburn hair framed her sharp eyes, reflecting the unyielding spirit that had helped guide Alara through the darkest times. Jorin's stocky frame carried the quiet strength that had grounded Kale through the rebellion's trials. The ceremony was a vibrant celebration, alive with color and sound. Children from every walk of life clutched rudimentary flying machines and mechanical tools, their laughter echoing through the open air. Teachers, once hidden rebels, now stood proudly instructing eager learners, their lessons a blend of ancient knowledge and innovative designs. Ilara took to the podium, her voice steady and clear as she addressed the crowd. Today, we turn a page in our city's history. No longer will our dreams be tethered by birth or caste. Together, we rise higher than ever before. Cheers erupted, filling the sky with a chorus of hope. Among the crowd, a figure watched silently Lord Varric, once the city's staunchest defender of the old order, now a man transformed by time and circumstance. His cold grey eyes softened as he witnessed the unity blossoming before him. Though regret shadowed his features, there was also a glimmer of acceptance, a tentative hope that the city might yet endure in this new era. As the sun climbed higher, Ilara and Kale slipped away from the festivities, finding solace beneath the vast expanse of the endless sky. Their fingers intertwined, a simple yet profound gesture that spoke of shared dreams and unshakable resolve. Whatever comes next, Ilara whispered, we face it together. Kale nodded, his grip tightening. A future forged by us, for all of us. Above them, the city saw its gears turning, its engines humming a song of freedom. The princess and the mechanic stood united, ready to write the next chapter of their story. One where love and hope would forever break the chains of the past. And as the clouds parted to reveal endless possibility, the city beneath them blossomed into a new dawn, forever changed by the courage of two souls daring to dream beyond the sky.